Pinkie Pie, this is Trixie. Trixie, Pinkie Pie. Woohoo! Does this mean I can have a party? I guess. Yay! You're the best, Trixie! The rest of the schedule went about as well as Twilight had planned. Pinkie Pie was happy to have an excuse to throw a party, although Twilight had extorted a promise that Pinkie would hold anywhere but the library. Fluttershy was just as her name suggested. The conversation had very few words, but she seemed happy enough. Rarity was a little tougher, still decidedly peeved over the fact that Trixie had turned her hair that horrible shade of green. "It took me 4 hours to fix," she had complained, and had taken the promise that Trixie would buy a new dress when she came around to making some money to finally placate her. All throughout the day, Trixie was distracted. It wasn't that Twilight's other friends weren't nice. She actually was quite thrilled at the idea of having them as friends of her own. She rarely stayed in one place in enough times during the days after Midnight's death, never really spending enough time to bond with anybody. But she kept going back to her conversation with Applejack early in the day. Trixie had to admit to herself that it was the truth. So what could she do about it? One thing she knew for certain was that she wanted to be with Twilight. But life had to be more than that. What did she want to be? Well, the answer was obvious, wasn't it? Twilight herself had told her as such on that first night, and the happenings of the day had confirmed it. Trixie knew exactly what she wanted to be. She only had to have the bravery to go ahead with it. As the two headed back towards the library, Trixie stopped in her tracks. Twilight realized she was no longer walking beside her and turned. "Trixie? Are you okay? I know it's been a long day and Pinkie Pie's planning that party for the night, so I thought you might need to rest for a bit," Twilight said, concern in her voice. Trixie shook her head and smiled. "No, I'm okay. There's something I need to go and do before the party. I'll meet you there, okay? You sure? There's only one thing I'm more positive on, and she's standing right in front of me. I need to go and spread my metaphorical wings and be on my own for a bit, alright?" Twilight tapped her hoof, clearly uncertain, and then nodded softly. Trixie bent forwards and then gently kissed her on the lips. "It'll be okay. You'll see." To say that Twilight was distracted for the rest of the day was an understatement. When you spend a week taking care of someone, it's only natural to worry about them when they leave. It only gets worse when you have personal feelings for them. All that equal to the fact that Twilight had worn a groove in the library's floor with her pacing. Even with Spike trying to comfort her, she was still nervous, especially as the sun dipped into the horizon, and the time of the party came about with no word from Trixie. Her nerves got even worse as they made their way towards the party, and there was still no sign from Trixie. Pinkie Pie had opted for a party in the outdoors around the central building. Twilight wondered if this was Pinkie's doing, or just the nature of irony, and that meant that Trixie was going to make her second impression in the same place that she'd made her first. A crowd had already gathered, including all of her friends. The party was already in full swing. Pinkie Pie bounded up to her. Hey Twilight! I got everyone to come, and I got streamers and balloons, and everything's ready!" She looked around curiously, even peeking under Twilight's legs, as if the blue unicorn could be hiding underneath her. "Where is she? We can't have a party without a guest of honor." I don't know. She said she had something she needed to do. I haven't seen her since this afternoon," Twilight said, the rest of them walking up to her. "I'm sure it'll be okay, Twilight," Applejack said comfortingly. I don't know. She was acting a little strange earlier. I'm worried." Before Twilight could continue, the centre of the stage suddenly exploded in fireworks, catching surprised ponies to turn their attention towards that direction. They were met with a magically enhanced voice echoing out all over them. "Come one, come all, come and witness the amazing magic of the great and powerful Trixie!" "Oh, no," Twilight whispered, a chill running down her spine, and she quickly began pushing her way to the front, followed by her friends. She got to the edge just in time to see, in a flash of smoke and sparkles, Trixie appear, clad in her cloak, with a brilliant, theatrical smile on her face. Watch in amazement as the great and powerful Trixie performs incredible feats of pony magic. More sparks and fireworks, and Twilight's head lowered slightly, her body trembling gently. She didn't know what to say. Had she reverted back this quickly? "Hey! She's doing it again!" Rainbow Dash protested, pointing over at the cloak-clad unicorn. "Twilight, I'm sorry," Applejack apologized, before glaring fiercely at Trixie. Magician Pony's front hooves were waving, and a bouquet of flowers appeared before her. With a flourish, the great and powerful Trixie swept them all up and brought them around with a final gesture, offered them to Twilight. She raised her head slightly, looking up in Trixie's eyes, and gently took the flowers. The chill she had felt was gone, and she realized that everything was going to be okay. Now, let the great and powerful Trixie tell all the tale of the most beautiful and magical unicorn in all of Equestria. Together with her brave friends, they faced danger and death in their quest to bring down the endless night and free the Princess of the Moon from the bonds of hatred that trapped her, Trixie exclaimed, removing her hat from her head, her horn glowing brilliantly. As every pony watched enthralled, a panorama painted itself onto the fabric of reality. One side depicted the 6 brave ponies, their leader, a purple unicorn at the head. On the other, the dangers they faced as Trixie began to weave her story. The panorama shifted in design in time with her, showing how each threat was faced and defeated with courage and friendship, punctuated by additional effects from the storyteller. Trixie looked out at the sea of those in the audience, her eyes coming to rest at the 6 who had stood and made their way to the front. Their eyes were wide as they beheld the spectacle of their own story and the praise that Trixie bestowed upon them. Twilight was holding the flowers that Trixie had created, and no one but Trixie saw the love on her face. This is what she wanted, what she was. Just because she had gotten it wrong the first time didn't mean she wasn't allowed to try again. Her dream wouldn't die unless she let it die. She wanted to be a storyteller, a magician, just like her mother, to weave dreams and reality to create happiness for people. So just as the audience had lost themselves in watching, the great and powerful Trixie lost herself in weaving the performance, creating a seemingly endless moment in time. The crescent moon was high in the sky when the party finally broke up. Soon there were only 2 ponies left enjoying the night sky and each other's company. Twilight, still holding those flowers, and Trixie, clad in her star-filled outfit, leaned against one another. "So, what did you think of the show?" the performer asked in a most important audience, who sniffed the flowers with an embarrassed but very happy expression. "I loved it. Between the flowers and your praise, I think half of Equestria knows about us now," Twilight said with a soft laugh. "Well, I decided that now was the time for grand and romantic," Trixie admitted, leaning in and kissing her lovely audience member. The kiss lingered for a moment before Twilight pulled away gently to admit something. "When you first started, I thought you'd gone back to before. I was worried. I shouldn't have doubted you." "Well, I can see why, so I'm not angry. You told me that night that I should find out what the great and powerful Trixie should be. And today, Applejack said pretty much the same thing," Trixie said, wistfully looking up at the skies. "I knew what I wanted to be, though. I was just afraid to go for it. And now? Not anymore. I'm not afraid anymore. I know that this is right," Trixie murmured, nuzzling Twilight's neck lovingly. "I'm also not going to be afraid to ask this question." "What question?" Twilight asked, between those soft, happy noises coming from her throat at the nuzzling. "Twilight, that night, why did you kiss me?" Twilight blinked and then smiled, gently pulling away from Trixie to look her in the eye. "There aren't many unicorns whose special talent is magic, you know," she started, and Trixie nodded, listening. "When I saw you, I thought you were amazing. Here was another pony's special talent was magic, and she seemed to be so brilliant at it. She was so beautiful, too." Trixie blushed and let out a soft laugh. "I'm sure embarrassing your friends and then the deal with Ursa Minor didn't exactly help with your image of me, though." "Well, no, but it was still there, deep inside. And when Applejack found you, I knew I wanted to help you," Twilight said, and leaned her head against Trixie's, their horns touching gently, both of them starting to glow gently from the touch. "And when you woke up, I was surprised and honoured that you laid your heart out to me as you did. I realised during that time that you had the same feelings towards me. It was etched on your face, and those emotions I felt the first time I saw you came rushing back. Maybe it was a bit rash, but it felt like the right thing to do at the time." And now?" Trixie asked, parroting Twilight. "It was definitely the right thing to do," Twilight finished, and smiled. Trixie blinked away the tears that had formed in her eyes, and the two looked upwards, the crescent moon warmly shining down on the 2 lovers. "I think you should tell her." "Who?" "Your mentor, Princess Celestia. It wouldn't be right to keep this from her." "Really? Are you sure?" Trixie nodded at Twilight. "All right. In the morning. But for now, the evening really should be ours, don't you think?" The 2 ponies stood and started walking for home. When morning came, they would have to face the bustle of real life. But for now, their world only consisted of each other. That was Lighting the Fire by Esper Derek. I'm Thankwell, and I'll see you next time.